I'm Simon Grafer, this is Moto Voodoo, Dark Art of Performance. When I first got on a big capacity bike, I needed help understanding how to ride it fast. There wasn't a book or film available that really worked. I tried to learn from experienced riders I met on my travels, but either they didn't know how to put exactly what they do on circuit into words, or they didn't want to reveal their secrets. I want to save riders from the mistakes I made and the painful crashes I had whilst learning how to ride fast. I believe this film will show you the techniques that are helpful at all levels of riding, from your very first on-track experience through to racing at the highest level. Slow in, fast out. Fast riders are fast everywhere. Yes, there are certain points on the track where you must wait to get on the throttle in order to win time later, but no turns are slow in. Holding yourself back from the tank. Bollocks! Get them against the tank and off to one side. Unless you're a girl, of course. Braking softly, then hard. If the bike is not leaning over, I recommend the opposite. Once you start opening the throttle, you need to keep opening it. Unless you want a high side or run off the track, I recommend quite the opposite. Holding the throttle open to get yourself out of trouble. This may work on a dirt bike, but with close to 200 horsepower on a standard 1000cc bike with all the grip and modern tyres, holding it on is only going to make the crash bigger. Your corner entry line dictates your exit line. Think of your corner as 3 separate parts. Regardless of where you enter the turn, you can still control your mid-turn and where you exit. Using your throttle to control your suspension. Maybe in the 70s, but modern suspension is so good you can concentrate on your riding. Body position. Think of the body in 2 halves. The top half can be moved around without upsetting the bike's stability, but the bottom half does affect it, so must be moved only when necessary and at the correct moment. If you watch the best MotoGP riders closely, their lower body movements are so smooth and perfectly timed that you hardly notice them, and they do not upset the bike's stability. Also, take note of how far forward they sit. Changing your lower body position is best done when the bike is close to straight up and down and when your head is on the bike's centre line. That is the moment when it's safest to move your backside in preparation for the next turn. Think about the next steps. As the bike returns to the vertical from full lean, your head moves from out to the side looking over your hand to back to the centre looking through the middle of the screen. The moment the bike is upright and your head is on the centre line, it is time to move your backside from off one side to off the other side in one smooth movement without dragging yourself across the seat, as this will upset stability at higher speeds. Then you can commit your head and your upper body to the turn as the bike leans over. You should be standing on the balls of your feet when doing this, as this is much more efficient than being flat-footed. Also, the flat-footed position restricts ground clearance. Where and when you move and position the top half of your body is less important. It's a personal style thing that you can vary to get the most from your bike setup. Don't move your lower body if the next corner goes in the same direction as the one you've just exited. Coming out of the corner and onto the straight section, don't move your backside. Leave it off to the side, ready for the next turn. Moving your backside too late in preparation for the corner. I'm talking about when a rider has almost finished braking and is about to, or already has committed to the corner, and then at the last moment they move their backside. They're moving around on the bike right when they should be concentrating on more important things, like the front tyre grip, the turn, and getting the rear back in line. Get it done much earlier when there's less to do. Moving your backside back to the centre for the straight too early. When I see a rider doing this, it makes me cringe because of the unnecessary risk. Coming out of a corner and onto a straight, get tucked in early, out of the wind. Head behind the screen. Knees and elbows tucked away. But always leave moving your backside until you're well out of the corner and the bike is closer to upright. This way there is less chance of losing rear grip, plus your mind is free to focus on riding at a risky moment. Riders sitting too far back. The importance of sitting forward. The guys that are sitting too far back, problem is it's very physical to hold yourself back there when you're on the brakes because all of your body weight's basically on your arms. So it's much more relaxed. I can literally brake really hard like this, that way, because all your lower body's supported by the tank. You can't move once you're committed to the turn. And mid-turn, you have to be sitting forward. Turning, okay, not have to, but it makes a big difference to turn of the bike, you know, but to be sitting more in the centre of the bike than back here. Secondly, if you lose the rear on the throttle and you're sitting back here, you go with it. You've got no control. Like anyone that rides a dirt bike will know that. You've got to be right forward with the front and the rear's back there doing its own thing. Doesn't matter. You're back here, you go with it, you've got less control. The other thing is, on a powerful bike, exiting the turn, hard on the throttle, if you're not right forward here, the thing wheelies. So every little bit that you're back, you have to use less throttle. The further forward you are, the more throttle you can use before it'll lift. Foot position. In general, riders should position their feet so the ball of the foot is on the peg. You not only have more ground clearance and are more agile while changing position, you also have less chance of knocking the gear lever. Selecting the wrong gear at the wrong time can cause a crash. While cornering, the ball of the foot on the inside of the corner, and therefore near the asphalt, should always be on the foot peg unless you need to change gear or use the rear brake momentarily. Outside foot. The outside foot position does not matter unless you are going to need to change direction quickly, in the middle of a chicane for example. In that case, it should be ball of the foot on the peg in preparation for change of direction.